What's going on, Savage Tribe? So this is a video that I'm making. I actually made a long video before this, a detailed video about how to fix these pull starts. A big thing that goes wrong with nitros. Not this one because it's a rotor start, but these break so often. And I made a video on how to fix it, and a really good way, a good hack that I've got to fix it that I worked out, having watched lots of videos on YouTube of how to fix them. They seem to me to be really, at the end of them, to get the string tight so it would stand up in the model perfectly like that. The way they were doing it, having to rewrap the string around the spool while the back of it was open, it was just really difficult, and I thought there must be an easier way, and I found an easier way, and that was to use this, which is Kevlar string. Now they make good nitro pull starts now from this, which is where I got the idea to use this string. But the thing about this string is it's obviously it's made of Kevlar, which you may know they use in bulletproof vests. It's a fiber, and when it's woven it becomes very strong. So this is really strong, but also the strength of it is not directly because it's thick. So what I'm basically saying is it's very strong, and you can have the strength without having massive thickness of the string, and because of that you can get more lengthwise wrapped around the spool of a pull starter. And because you can get more revolutions around the spool, you can put more string on the spool than you need. And then at the end of it, you can then use the extra that you need to pull the spring tight and then put the handle on so it's taut, without having to dig around the spool and try and bury the string under tension, which is just a nightmare. So it's just a hack video that I made in response to one of my followers saying that he had a nitro and the pull start broke. Anyway, it was quite a good video, but there was three parts to it because some of it was a little bit difficult for me to see the gaps where to put the string through, so I was going to just chop it into three and then edit into one video. Unfortunately, being an idiot, I didn't capture it in focus. Some of it was and some of it wasn't, so I basically wasted my time. But you know, I'm a bit like that. Anyway, so I thought, well, instead I'm going to make that video again because I really believe it's you know, going to be of benefit to anyone who likes nitros and has pull starts, because you know, if you can fix something and it's free, or you know, it doesn't cost much, then that's the best fix you can have. And you know, it's hard enough fixing these and looking after these, so anything you can learn that's easy and cheap is great. And also, you know, when we're buying parts for our models, unless you live next to a really big model store that actually sells stuff for nitros, you know, you're going to be having to order stuff online, and some of it like is very cheap and rubbish, and some of it just takes absolutely ages to get to you when you get it online. So anything you can fix yourself, and the cheaper that is, the better. So I will remake that video, but because I just can't face doing it now, I've just finished work, I'm just going to show you this, which is my HPI Savage. This is the second Savage I got. I'll tell you a little bit about the first one. I had, when I was much younger, a Marde Marauder, which was a fuel RC. I'm not sure back then if it was called Nitro or whatever, but anyway, I got it, bought it secondhand, and it only went in reverse, but I managed to take it apart at about 13, and I found the gearing was round the wrong way, and I fixed it, and I loved it. It was great. And then not that long ago, my son decided that for a present, I'm not sure if it's Christmas or his birthday, he wanted a radio control car, and he was quite, you know, adamant that he wanted a nitro. So we went out and bought him a nitro, and I fell in love with the hobby again. So I thought, I'm going to go and get myself a nitro, and I love these things, Savages. So anyway, I found this other Savage. It was another Savage 25, but it had been on the advert, it had been made up to basically the guy tried to upgrade it to a Savage X. So it actually had a 5.9 Force R36 engine in, which is the biggest engine you can fit in a Savage, I think. And so that was one of the only good things about it. I've got the engine, and hopefully I'll be putting that engine in here soon, because you know, more power it's better, isn't it? And it came with this shell, because I have the original shell to this, and it came also with these wheels, and I had the original wheels for this. But back to this one. This one I bought also from also from eBay, I think. No, Facebook Marketplace. And this is a Savage, HPI Savage 25, as I said, and it was completely 100% original. It had the original wheels, the original body shell, and it had never ever been run or used. It had never had nitro through it. The body, I've swapped this body because the body's so new and it's in pristine condition. I just want to keep it because it's original and it's a classic, so I wanted to keep it nice. And the wheels the same, they're absolutely unblemished. Another reason I changed the wheels was this, as I said, it had never been run, it had never nitro through it, and I don't buy things to keep as shelf models, so I wanted to run it. But obviously you have to break these in, and I was breaking this in outside my apartments, and that's in a tarmac car park, and these are much better in the car park. But anyway, a little bit about it. So as I said, I'm just breaking this in now. To break these in, you have to put nitro in the tank and start it, and ideally you want to raise this so the wheels are off the ground, and you start it with a full tank and you keep the wheels off the ground and you just let it sit there, turning over, idling with a full tank, and you let the tank drain to the bottom, and you have to do that 3 times. You can't do it and then fill it and do it and fill it. You have to do 1 tank, let it run and drain out, then you have to let it cool down completely, and then you do the same thing again and the same thing again. And the reason is because not only do you need to put the fuel through the engine, you also need to heat cycle the engine. When you get these models, any of these nitro models new, the engines are very tight. The piston is tight inside the sleeve, and this is basically a 2-stroke engine. You probably know all this. And 2 strokes, they don't have an extra oil tank or sump or anything like that. So how they get their oil is because it's mixed in with the fuel. So obviously the way to lubricate the engine is to run it. So when you get these new, they have no lubrication, and the only lubrication they are going to have is through the fuel. So you break them in easy and you heat cycle them, because obviously metal in the engine and the piston, metal, it will contract and it'll expand and contract when it gets hot and cold. And so that's one of the reasons why you heat cycle it, because everything gets wider and then it gets tighter and wider and tighter, and you sort of just like get it to that point where it's widened and it's cooled down, it's widened, and it sort of finds a sweet spot, and obviously the fuel's gone through it, and then it's lubricated as well. So once you've done those 3 tanks, some people say 5, some people, I mean, there's lots of different ways. I don't think there's any scientific evidence to say any of them are better than the others. I put 3 through. Then you start doing rund braking. So you'll put the fuel in and you'll start just running it on a quarter throttle, just gently. Some people do figure of 8, some people do loops up and down. I've actually got a video on this channel of this being broken in, so I'm just using it very slowly, and this is just about getting to the point where I can start actually running it properly, normally, like you normally would. I think 1 more tank, 3/4 throttle, and I'll start tuning it better than it is now, and then I'll start ripping it anyway. And I'm hoping to do that this weekend. I've got 2 nitros I'm going to take out this weekend, hopefully, and make some videos. I'm also going to take 2 brushless RCs out because I want to do a comparison, because I know a big thing on YouTube and stuff and TikTok is to do you see how fast these go, like speed runs. But it occurs to me that you know, the full speed of something isn't a true representation of really how fast it is, because something can spin round faster than anything, but if it doesn't have traction on the floor, you know, it's not going to go that fast. And if you're racing something, a race is a preset distance, isn't it? And if you can get more traction on a set distance, even if you've got a car that can do like 100 miles an hour, but it's got really good traction and really good torque, or yeah, and then you've got a car that can do 300 miles an hour, but you know it can't get for a long time that onto the tarmac or the grass. It can't get that speed down because the wheels are spinning and there's no traction. You know, that's a true representation of speed to me, and I want to see whether, you know, the Bullet and this, they're quick and they've got a lot of traction, and I want to see over a set distance like 500 meters or something, you know, how fast these things are, because I love nitros and everyone's saying, oh, brushless is faster, this, that and the other, and I want to see if it is or not, and we will see. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this video up shortly. But one thing I did want to say was, when I got the other Savage that I spoke about, it was in really bad repair, and I got it and I didn't really know anything about the HPI Savage or nitros. I'd had one when I was a kid, and it was broken, and I was very frustrated, and I just kept looking at it and wishing it had worked, because I when I got it back here, it wasn't working, but I didn't know when I picked it up. To me it looked good, and I just didn't know. Anyway, and so I thought to myself, well, you know, I bought this thing, I really want to use it, but I don't know anything about it, I don't know how to use it. And when I got this, it had never been used, and it came with everything: the manual, the engine manual, which is separate to the actual model manual. And I sat down and I read all through it very slowly, and I realised, you know, I can do this now. I can fix this. And so I got this one running, and I've taken all stuff off the other one that I'm going to put on this one. And you know, just by taking a step back, reading the manual, going onto forums, and by the way, I've got a Facebook forum. It's called SOS Save Our Savages and Other Beautiful Nitros. Love you to join that if you want to. There's some really good guys on there. They've got so much knowledge. I don't know what I'd do without them. It's a great group on Facebook. And anyway, so I looked through them and I realised I could fix these. So just before I wrap this up, one thing I will say about fixing them is this: if you get ready to run nitros and models, often you will get little tools with them, and most of those tools consist of things like this: small little Allen keys. And while these will fit these bolts, and they will fix it, they are very tedious to use. And, you know, often you have to undo a lot of stuff to get to something because they're not long enough. And, you know, when you're fixing something to begin with, it's very frustrating. It's like a mountain that you have to overcome. And using something like this, which is small, it's very difficult. You know, it's difficult to turn. Sometimes you have to turn them so many times because they're so small, you know, and it just makes the whole thing like a mountain to climb. And so one of my other tips is something that's very inexpensive that you can buy are these. They're hex drivers. They're basically exactly the same as Allen keys, but they're in basically like a screwdriver format. And they just make fixing anything that's got, you know, hex head screws just so much easier. Look how far this can reach. You know, you don't have to take things off because it will go in and reach. You've got a much better grip and traction on them, and it just makes fixing things so much easier. It just takes a little bit of that stress out of it. So that's one of my tips. There's going to be lots more coming. Get yourself a set of these. They do them specifically for RC cars. They're not expensive. These ones weren't very expensive, and as far as I know, they're really good. Anyway, guys, thanks very much. I know this wasn't the video that I made. I will remake this video about these pull starts with this Kevlar string, but I just couldn't face it. I've just got back from work. I'm hungry. I'm going to have to pick my wife up soon. So I thought I'd just make something because I need to be posting content. If you're watching this on YouTube, please consider liking and subscribing. If you don't subscribe, you're not really in the tribe. So anyway, I'd really appreciate if you did that, because I've got a lot of ideas, and I need to get these into fruition somehow, and I'm going to do that by growing a channel, because, you know, this is an expensive hobby and I need something coming back if I'm going to invest into it. And I really do, because I love this hobby, and I really want other people to love this hobby, especially these nitros. There's nothing like them. They are something else. I love all RCs, but these, they're, once you get confident with these, there's nothing like it. And if you happen to be watching this on TikTok, please follow. If you don't follow, then you're probably going to get left behind. So follow and like. Thanks, guys, and I'll see you soon.